start recording. Then we share the thing once again. So we can see. So maybe you want to come again. What is potential? What is potential?
Okay. Like I said earlier, sir, I said for me, I believe potential is whatever I have the power or the ability to become.
Whatever you have the power or the ability to become, and this is why this lesson is very, very important. You have to make that choice to make sure, because that power is already resident inside of you. The ability to become what you can become is already resident inside of you. All you just need to do is to come to terms with yourself and then make up your mind that you are going to live out that power that is already within you. So do we have any other additional contribution? What is potential? Like Erica Junk says, everyone has talent. So whether you like it or not, you have a talent. You have a gift. Okay. So what is rare is the courage to follow the talent to the dark places where it leads. That is where the big problem is.
Okay. For me as a person, I think potential is the capacity of or the qualities, the abilities that could be developed, because it's resident, but at the same time, if you did not at a goal get to identify what your potential is, it could just be there and you will not know you have that capacity or you have that ability. So I think potential is something you have instilled in you that
needs to be developed
or probably evolve into a success story. That's what.
Thank you very much. So, looking at our conversation summary, one of the greatest man that I know has really dealt with the subject of potential was Miles Monroe. I don't know if any of us here know who Miles Monroe was. He's dead now, but his words still rings all around the world even today. I came in contact with Dr. Miles Monroe in 1997. That was when I first heard him on a tape. And ever since that time, I've been following his ministry, and he has blessed me tremendously. And he's a very powerful teacher on potential and purpose. And he has so many definitions to give when it comes to potential. One of his definitions is that your potential is an untapped energy. The energy is there, but it's untapped. So can you imagine what happens when you begin to tap into that energy? That is what potential is. Potential is what you have the ability to become, but you have not yet become. Just like Adenike said, it is the power you have that you can become, but you have not yet become. Potential is an unused power. Is like a reservoir that is just there, that is never used. I'm sure if you did elementary science at the elementary school, we were taught the kinetic and potential energy. Potential energy and the energy that is stationary, is not moving, is just on the same spot. But the beauty of that potential begins to emerge when you begin to take advantage, when you begin to utilize that potential to become what is capable of becoming. So another definition, according to Miles Monroe, is that potential is what I am capable of becoming that I have not yet become. So your potential is never what you have done. For example, by the grace of God, I have a doctorate degree today, but my potential is never a doctorate degree again. That is no longer my potential. That is already done. My potential is what I can still become that I have not yet become. Once you are able to achieve something, it is no longer your potential. And that is why we all need to understand the power of potential. There is so much power, ability, capability, capacity that is inside of you. And when you don't know how to tap into this power, you begin to underutilize your talents and your gifts and your purpose in life. So for our leadership mindfulness thoughts, we can say that potential is your latent power, which despite the enormity of what you can do with it, will remain dormant until you decide to productively engage it. Your potential will remain dormant until you do something about it. And that is one thing every young lady or young man should know. I also want to take this response. Somebody also said potential means possibility or becoming something you can become. Somebody also said potential is having a quality or ability that may be developed or having a capacity that could evolve into something in the future. That is what potential is, always looking into the future. It's what you can become, but you have not yet become. And once you become it, it ceases to be your potential. Now, how do I know that I have some existing potential? How do you know? What are the signs you need to see? What are the things you need to know that will give you the impression that you have some existing potential? John Terpentin says, everyone has special talents, and it is our duty to find ours and use them well. So how do you know that you have some existing potential? What are the handwriting on the wall you need to see to give you the impression that you have some existing potential? Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Well, I think for you to know that you have, for me to know, let me just use myself as an example now. In my journey in life, the only way I have been able to find out the potentials in me has been through service. Through service.
Offering yourself
Service. So what I have been able to do is that I've been able to plunge myself into service. And at different points in time, where I have served in different departments, maybe in church or wherever I find myself, the joy I derive from, doing one particular thing has, either helped me to realize how equipped I am to do that thing or how unequipped I am. Do you understand? So you can find your potentials by just putting yourself out there as a willing vessel to be used. And in being available, in making yourself available to be used, maybe in God's kingdom or in serving humanity, you will be able to find your potential. You'll be able to realize the hidden talent you have in you. It will be pushed out. If you are a servant, which is what we should be first, because if you are to be a leader, I think we are on a leadership platform right now.
Yeah, exactly.
If a leader, then you must be a servant, because leading is serving. So you must plunge yourself into leadership. For example, now, sir, if I was not invited to join this platform, I wouldn't have discovered that I so much enjoy, you know, analytic discussions like this, where we reflect. I wouldn't have even known that I had the potential of contributing positively to the well-being of some people in the society. So I think service is a very strong way through which you can discover your potential. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Offering ourselves for service, it helps us to know some of our hidden potential. And that is what John Templeton has also emphasized, that every one of us has a special talent. Our duty is to release ourselves for service so that we can uncover those hidden potentials that we have. Okay, let's summarize our conversation. When you ask yourself, how do I know that I have an existing potential? I think the first thing that should come to your mind is because God said so, isn't it? God said so. He gave you the capacity to multiply, to be fruitful, to subdue the earth. That is potential. He gave you that capacity. So because God said so, that is why you know that you have some existing potential. Not only because God said so, you also know that you have potential because the reward of cultivating our potential is unquantifiable. Because if we do so, we will be exposed to more fertile land to gain a surplus. Just like Adenike said, she said she doesn't even know she could do so much in contributing in a platform like this, and even be of service to humanity, providing a conversation around mental health, mental well-being of people, that even millions of people are going to benefit in the nearest future. And I think that really gladdens our hearts. And that is what potential is. When you offer yourself in a very new terrain that you don't even know you can produce, and you are thrown into that terrain and you begin to make some positive impact. That is what, that is how we often discover that we have some existing potential when you put yourself up for service. Now, our leadership mindfulness thought is when you put your potential to work, suddenly you will realize that there are still unused portions of that same potential. This should keep you busy and engaged until you draw your last breath in this life. For me, that has been my own testimony. The more I offer myself for service, the more I discover there are still more unused potential that I possess. And that gives me the courage to continue to press forward. Now, let's ask ourselves the next question. When do I utilize my potential? When exactly should I begin to exhibit and then begin to put my potential to use? Now, to guide our discussion, Albert Einstein says, only a life lived for others is a life worthwhile. So when do I utilize my potential? What circumstances, what scenario needs to happen before I can know that I need to begin to utilize my potential? Now let's engage with that conversation. How do I utilize my potential?
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. For me, you can go, sir.
Go ahead, Toby.
Go ahead, Nike.
Okay, thank you, sir. The question, when do I utilize my potential? For me, I believe delay can be catastrophic.
Yeah.
The minute you realize that you have this hidden talent in you, the minute you realize that you have some unique traits about you, some abilities that have not been harnessed, I think you should just plunge yourself into it right away. Because not only will this give you joy, it will give others joy. And at the end of the day, it will make you useful on the long run, not only to yourself, but in the external society, in your world, even in God's kingdom.
Mm.
So the minute you realize this, and like you said, sir, you said everybody that God has already told us that we have potentials, that we have diverse potentials in us. So I think even as parents, the minute your children can write, can read, start introducing them to different areas where they can, they can put in their little
Well,
effort. Yes. Thank you.
exactly. Thank you very much. So Toby, let's hear you.
Okay, thank you. For me, I think it begins by getting to know ourselves first, getting to identify our strengths and our weaknesses. We should be able to decipher what our strength is and what our weaknesses. By doing that at the very beginning, when you know, okay, this is what I am good at doing, this is what I am comfortable doing without stress. There are so many things we can do without anybody trying to persuade us, without persuasion, that will be up and running to do. So we tend to identify what our weaknesses are and what our strengths are. Once we can identify that, then I think we should set the ball rolling straight in order to achieve and make a very good use of our God-given potentials to achieve our success story, because everything has to do with, because if we are able to identify your potentials and you're able to work with it, run with it, then success is inevitable. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So the key is to identify the potential that you have and then immediately begin to work on it, begin to implement it, begin to utilize it, begin to put it to maximum use. And the more you use it, the more refined it becomes, and the better you are at it. Now, for our conversation summary, when you look at that question, when do I utilize my potential? Obviously, you will say whenever occasions demands for it. That is just, it's as simple as that. You don't have to wait for a special occasion to utilize your potential. Every opportunity you have, every occasion you have is an opportunity to explore and utilize or maximize your potential. So whenever occasion calls for it, you need to put it to work. The productive use of your potential is supposed to enhance the advancement of people's life. That is very key. And that was why Adenike was always emphasizing service to people, and sometimes service to God. And if that is not happening, if you are not offering, if you are not advancing or enhancing the advancement of people's life, if that is not happening with you currently as I'm speaking, you are underutilizing your potential. If your potential is not something that is making life better for the society, for your community, you are underutilizing your potential. If you think your potential is only to make you happy or to make you enjoy life, you are missing out from the bigger picture. Your potential should be able to serve other people and serve them right. And here is our leadership mindfulness thoughts. The greatest joy you can ever have is the joy of living your life for others to survive. That is the greatest joy you can ever have. It is the joy of living for others so that they can survive. That is the greatest joy you can ever have. It's not by having a house in Dubai or by winning a lottery ticket or by having a visa to travel abroad. It is so that you are making other people happy. You are making the survivability of other people your priority in your life. Now let's ask the next question, which is, where can I utilize my potential? You know, some people, they believe that the only place where they can utilize their potential is when they travel out of the country. I'm not saying that is not good. Well, for somebody like me, I believe that America will provide a better opportunity for me. That was why I decided to move to America, to study, to make myself better. I didn't just come here to come and be hustling. I came here to study, and from there, I began to make progress with my life. So for some people, they believe they have to be at a particular location before they can utilize their potential. But here is what Plato says. Plato is one of the founding father of philosophy. When you have Socrates, you have Plato. Socrates is the general grandfather. Then Plato comes after Socrates. Then after Socrates, after Plato, you have Aristotle. So these three philosophers are regarded as the founding father of philosophy. And this is what Plato has to say. He said, each citizen should play his part in the community according to his individual gifts. So we all have a role to play in ensuring that Nigeria becomes a better place. It's not just the role of the government to make the country a better place. We all have a part to play. Part of the role that I have is what I am doing with this School of Transformational Leadership. I am with this platform contributing my own quota, using my gifts and ability and my potential to be able to help the society in a way that I can. So where can I utilize my potential? So let's begin to engage with that question. Where can I utilize my potential? Or for you, where do you think you can utilize your potential?
I think it begins with our immediate environment.
Your immediate environment. You see, vision does not happen somewhere else. It begins from where you are. From where you are. That is where it begins from. You can then begin to extend from where you are to other places. You have to start from where you are. Thank you for that powerful contribution. We can utilize our potential right from where we are.
Yes.
Anybody else? Where can I utilize my potential?
Okay, sir, I also want to add that you can also look for places where your potentials are needed.
Exactly.
You know,
yeah.
That
You
be able to. So just look for places where they are needed so that you'll be able to contribute positively in that environment.
You are absolutely correct. We need to look for where our gifts is needed. It's very, very important. We have to look for the location where our gift is needed. It's very, very vital. Who else? Like I said in our conversation summary, to utilize your potential, you need to identify your area of giftedness. If you don't know what you have, how do you want to utilize and maximize it. So you have to understand what natural endowment that you have. Just like we've been saying, every one of us has a talent. You know, Adenike has just discovered some of the talent that she's got right through this platform. We all have the talent. Our responsibility is to discover those talents and then look for ways of expressing those gifts that we possess. And another thing is that we have to understand that we can only utilize our potential where it is needed. Some places you have the potential, but your what you have is not needed there. You need to move to location. And I let me also say this: your calling is also geographical. That is the absolute fact. And that is why you see God moves people from places to places. That is why God moved Abraham from Mesopotamia to where? To the land of Aram, or which land now? To the land of the Canaanites. So it is very, very vital. Your potential can often be utilized in your God-assigned place or location. And Mike Murdock will always say, your calling is geographical. Some people, they have been called to excel in Lagos. If your calling is not geographical, every one of us should remain in our village. And I can bet you there is nobody in Nigeria today that is really living in their own village, except for people who are still in the village there. But majority of the people you see in the city is because they believe that their calling is in the city. That's why they move from the village to the city. And for those of us who moved outside the country, it's because we believe our gift is also required in those places where we have moved to. So your calling is also geographical, and you need to understand that. And you need to understand that that is also the place where you can excel. So our leadership mindfulness thoughts is the aim of each of us every day should not be what to benefit from the community, but what we are bringing into the community to promote it. So your goal in life should not be, what can Nigeria offer me? For many people, that is the way they are thinking. Nigeria has not done this, Nigeria has not done that, Nigeria has not provided this. That is not the way to go. The way to go is, what can I contribute to improve the progress of Nigeria? That is how to go about it, or to the progress of wherever you find yourself, whether you're a Ghanaian or a Kenyan, a South African, wherever you are from Ethiopia, from Egypt, from Tunisia, wherever you are from, you must have this mentality of always being part of the solution of the society and not being part of the people who suck life out of the society. You must be a contributor to the progress of the society. So who will benefit from my potential? Is my potential for myself, for my family, for my wife, for my children, for I, myself, and me? Is my potential for I, myself, and me? Or who is my potential? Who will benefit from my potential? Now, to guide us in our conversation, Paul D. Moody says, the measure of a man is not in the number of servants, but in the number of people whom he serves. So we are not to begin to look for people to serve us, but we are to begin to seek for people to serve. Remember what Jesus said, I am among you as he who serves. The disciples were arguing, who is going to be the greatest among them? He said, it shall not be so among you. The greatest among you must learn to be the servant of all. I am among you as he who serves. So the measure of a man is not in the numbers of servants that he has, but in the number of people whom he serves. That is what Paul D. Moody says. Now, so let's engage. Who will benefit from your potential? Who are the people that will benefit from your potential? Who are the people that will benefit from your potential?
I think it goes all around, because at first, once you are able to identify what your potential is,
Yeah.
it's increased to you one way or the other. Like it adds to you one way or the other, because you know this is what I'm capable of doing.
Yeah.
It's probably increased your morale.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
increase your
Right.
it gives you this self how will I put it, that
Confidence.
motivation that yes, I know I can do this. I'm sure I can do this. I'm sure I'm good at this. So that's the benefit to you, even before you reach out to other people, because by the time you are now doing what your potential is, you are now reaching out to lives. You are now trying to transform lives. You are trying to be who God has destined you to be, impacting lives. So I think it's all round, but it begins with you first. It's just like the Yoruba adage we say, "Tadon ma fun loko, to ma wa ko ebe." So it comes to you first before it goes to other people. Thank you.
Joy Idowu says you benefit from your potential. That is without doubt. And your community also benefits from your potential too. Yeah, that is without doubt. You cannot give what you don't have. You can only give out of what you have. Thank you for that contribution. So, in the absence of no other contribution, let's hear our conversation summary. The people that will benefit from our potential are, generally speaking, humanity. Your potential should always, first of all, be directed towards improving the progress of humanity. And then specifically, your potential should benefit people that are directly under your personal leadership or influence. People who are within the sphere of influence, those are the people that your potential should benefit. And here is our leadership mindfulness thought. It is important to serve your gifts to the world with great humility. Don't ever take the privilege for granted or as self-deserving. When you have a potential that people can benefit, don't see it as if you really deserve it. God gave you so that you can use it to improve the life of other people. So don't see it as if you truly deserve it and that it is okay to take it for granted. Don't do that to yourself. Now let's go to our final question, which is, why should I utilize my potential? Why should I utilize my potential? Now let's engage with that conversation. Why should I utilize my potential?
I think I will take it to the Bible, the story of the 5 talents. So if you have a potential and you did not utilize it, like you did not use it effectively, I guess you lose it. And God so good, you are not the only one with that same potential.
Okay.
So even Jesus said, while he was on a donkey he was telling them that if the people stop shouting, the stones will stand up and they will. So definitely, I think the point for me as a person is, if you are given a talent and you probably eat the talent, you are doing yourself no good, because one, you will not develop. Two, you will not even be at peace, because life will be miserable, because you are every man is in this life for a purpose. There is a purpose for your living. So, and when you are not living a purposeful life, you are not living a fulfilled life. You are not living your potentials. You tend to be to be a mirage of yourself. You'll be living. Yeah, no problem. You'll be living like a shadow. You'll be living a shadow of yourself. So I think it is very, very wise for us to identify our potentials and then use it effectively. It's for our own good, really. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, who else wants to contribute? Now, this is what J.A. Pontnaka Jr. says. He said, to be caught up in the nickel, dime, day-to-day mundane affairs of everyday life is to lose sight of what life is intended to be. Why should I utilize my potential? Now, there are two main reasons. Now, I'm trying to summarize our conversation. There are two main reasons why we should cultivate our potential. Number one, we should cultivate our potential for the glory of God, for God's name to be glorified. That is the number one reason why we should cultivate our potential. The number two reason why we should cultivate our potential is so that we can fulfill our destiny. We have all been predestinated in Christ. And so for that destiny to be fulfilled, we need to cultivate our potential. To cultivate means to develop, to use, to put to work our potential. And here is our leadership mindfulness thoughts. If you fail to understand why you need to utilize your potential, abuse of purpose will set in. When you don't know the reason why you have a particular potential, you will misuse it, you will abuse it, you will not know the reason why you should channel that potential in the right direction. So you will likely want to merchandise it as well, or make obnoxious gain of the gift or talent. I've even seen some people who will prophesy and then will be asking people to contribute money to come and hear prophecies. That is making merchandise of the gift or the talent that God has deposited inside of you. So I think we have come to the end of this lesson, which is Unit 4 of our Executive Wellness Leadership Program. And I believe we have all been blessed, and we have spoke largely about the topic of potential, the choice to maximize my God-given potential. So do we have any question before we wrap up? Any question before we wrap up? So if there are no questions, I want to appreciate each and every one of us for coming, for participating. We started a little bit late, even though a number of us didn't also show up on time. But nevertheless, we want to apologize because I'm always by myself here, and I am not in your generation who uses all these gadgets. So we have to start learning things that you have in your own world to be able to do these things that we are doing. So I want to appreciate every one of you for coming. I pray that the Lord Almighty will continue to bless you. Hope to see you next week for Unit 5 and for Unit 6. Have a blessed day. God bless you. Bye-bye. Toby, do we have any announcements?